All right, that probably looks a little odd to some of you. Here I am, a professional auto detailer, working on high-end vehicles, doing paint correction, removing scratches from cars, working on daily drivers. And here I am working on this little small Kubota B6200. The reason I'm making this video is there's a couple reasons. One, letting my potential customers know that I actually do, in fact, detail farm tractors, even if that sounds a little funny. And for the professional detailer that might be watching my video, if you happen to live in an area where there's some agricultural stuff going on, now again, I'm a mobile detailer, I'm a one-man operation. I'm not doing large combines or sprayers and large pieces of agricultural equipment. I'm not capable of doing it. It wouldn't be cost effective for my customer. It just wouldn't be the right thing to do. But I have a lot of customers who own vehicles that I'm taking care of, but they also own some tractors like this or a little bit bigger because they might be living on a piece of property that has 5 or 10 acres on it. Even though I'm in Dallas, just north of Dallas, up in Collin County, or west or east of Dallas, there are plenty of individuals that have tractors like this. And these tractors represent a unique challenge. It's one thing to actually foam them down and rinse them off. It's another thing to remove and degrease these tractors. These tractors are awfully difficult to be able to remove a lot of the grease that can develop on these things. A lot of hydraulic fluid. This tractor actually has a PTO drive in the rear. They can hook up like a brush hog to it. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with these things and a lot of dirt, grease, and grime that can build up, and it's very difficult. A lot of my customers are telling me they try a lot of different products and they can't remove this grease, and that's where I come in as a professional detailer. I've got some products that work wonders on degreasing some issues, especially even some agricultural or industrial issues. So I'm going to rinse this down. Just bear with me. I know it's not fun to watch me rinse something down, but as soon as I'm done rinsing this, I'm going to bring you into some of the challenges, some of the interesting areas on this tractor that can be difficult to remove some of the grease, and I'm just going to go over, I'm going to try to go over it quickly. I don't want to kill you with a long video, but again, if you're a professional detailer and you want to expand, you want to open your services to more people, this may be something you want to look into. Okay, I'm going to pick you guys up. Sorry for being a little shaky. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about when it comes to tractor cleaning, agricultural farm equipment cleaning. Again, as I mentioned before, the back of this tractor has a PTO drive. What that is this customer is allowed to, or is able to hook up like a brush hog and have a big platform to be able to cut large areas of property, large acres. And what happens is these PTO drives, they come with their challenges, and there's a lot of fluid, hydraulic fluid, all sorts of stuff that begins to kind of develop on top of these components on the rear of the tractor. And my customers are reporting to me that this is some of the hardest stuff to remove. It's just really difficult. I have some customers that actually take their tractor, put it on the back of a trailer, and bring it to a car wash, thinking that they'll use some type of engine cleaner that comes out of those machines and be able to clean this stuff off. And my customers are telling me it just doesn't do anything for this really tough grease and grime that begins to develop on the back of these tractors. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why do people clean these things? Well, I mean, the obvious reason is to keep them clean. That's always nice to be able to do that. Two, some of these tractors are awfully expensive. Some of these tractors cost more than cars. This is a huge investment for my customers that have maybe 5 or 10 acres worth of land that they're trying to maintain and take care of. Not only do they have some cars that I might be detailing for them and cleaning, but I also notice they have some tractors and they're having issues with cleaning them. So I, as the businessman that I am, I open my mouth. I ask them how they're maintaining them. Because here's another issue with these tractors. If they're being used on a regular basis, they'll start to build up not only grease and grime, but they'll build up a lot of grass, they'll build up a lot of twigs, a lot of debris. And there's something very interesting that happens when this debris starts to cake up inside these little nooks and crannies on these tractors. Rodents absolutely love to make little homes out of all that debris that can collect on these tractors. Now, these rodents, as cute as some of them may look, they can cause extreme havoc, especially for the owner of the tractor, because when these rodents want to make little nests and homes inside these little nooks and crannies of the tractor, they begin to like to chew things, and they'll start chewing some of the electrical lines and components on the tractor, which can be extremely expensive to repair. So not only are my customers trying to maintain the value by keeping them clean, they also appreciate and understand that if the cleaner they are, the less debris on them, the less chance the rodents are going to want to hide out and make a little safe haven on these tractors and start chewing apart their tractors one piece at a time. So that's kind of one of the issues I wanted to bring up, or a couple of issues on why we actually detail these things. Now again, as a mobile detailer, if you happen to be a potential customer of mine and you're watching this video, if you own a huge, large, GPS-driven and guided combine or huge sprayer, I'm probably not going to be the guy for you, because I'm a single-man operation. Those are large pieces of equipment, and I just don't have the capability. I certainly could clean it, but I don't think it would be cost-effective for me to do it. I'd have to charge an arm and a leg, because I'd probably be there for 10 to 12 hours cleaning the outside of one of those large combines. But when it comes to these small utility tractors, or maybe even a little bit bigger than this, these single drivers, or maybe just a cab for a single driver, these tractors here are very interesting to me. And because there's so many of them all over Collin County and north of Dallas, I've begun to kind of allow, or kind of blow the whistle, that I have the ability to be able to cut through the grease and grime that can develop on these tractors that are very difficult to remove. And I'm going to highlight one of them. Well, I've highlighted them before. I've talked about them. My Meguiar Super Degreaser is a great way to be able to remove some of the grease and grime on these tractors. I also have a chemical that's called Citral, made by Schaefer's Oil, that works extremely well. And then I kind of have a secret in my arsenal, and I'm going to let it out of the bag here, and it's called Rapid Remover. Now, Rapid Remover is a adhesive remover, actually made by the vinyl graphic industry, but it works incredibly well at removing this grease and grime that can develop on these tractors. And what's really cool about Rapid Remover, it's 100% natural. Now take that for whatever that means to you. I don't want to drink this stuff. I don't think it's safe to drink it, but it's incredibly effective, like the other degreasers that I have, with being able to break down this grease and grime. But here's another issue. No matter what type of cleaner or degreaser you're using, it takes patience when it comes to cleaning a tractor. There are areas underneath this tractor that have to be addressed. There's a lot of caked up grease and grime right here by this axle, and it's going to take, even with the best cleaners, you have to be patient. You have to have the right tools. You got to be able to get in there with your hand and be able to agitate that stuff and break it down. So it takes some time. It takes patience. It takes knowledge. It takes experience to be able to truly dial these tractors in and remove all that tough grease and grime that my customers are telling me just doesn't come off with a lot of the retail products they're using, or even some products that like John Deere or Kubota may be recommending to their customers at their little dealership. I've also been told that these cleaners just don't do the job when, again, if the tractor's been left a little bit neglected for far too long. But I want to bring you in and just show you one of the cleaners that I have, and it's Citral. It's made by Schaefer's Oil, and I'm just going to spray. Hopefully it's going to pick it up. I know the lighting is not the best today. The sun's just barely trying to peek out. It's a little overcast. But here's an area on this axle here that's got a tremendous amount of grease right there, and all I want to do is kind of hit that with some of my cleaner here. And I'm going to let it dwell. I'm going to let it sit there and dwell for a couple seconds, maybe about 30, 40 seconds. And I'm going to grab my power washer and just see how that comes off. So bear with me. I know I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand and use the power washer, so we're going to be a little bit shaky here. Let me see what I can do with that. Now I have to giggle here a little bit because all I did was simply spray some of these cleaners or these degreasers that I'm absolutely in love with, and then hit it with the power washer. I didn't have to agitate it. I didn't have to scrub it, although I'm going to go a little bit further and completely remove all that grease and grime. But I wanted to show you how some of these degreasers, if you're using the right type of degreaser, you have the knowledge, the experience to be able to get your hands or use these chemicals appropriately and effectively. They're incredibly efficient of removing a lot of that grime by simply just letting it dwell, spray it on there, let it dwell, and then hit it off with a power washer. Now the power washer I'm using is only 1500 psi. I'm not coming in here with a 2500, 3000 RPM, excuse me, a 3000 psi power washer to be able to knock that stuff off. But if you're using the right type of degreaser, and stop playing around, and I don't mean to insult anybody, but if you want to do this right and you want to be effective with it, you got to up your game. You got to know the right cleaners to use that are friendly to use, that get the job done, and you can absolutely clean this tractor and make it look sweet again. But it's difficult. I get it. I understand it. There's a lot of people who are buying retail level products that just don't cut it. And I find even on the retail level, some of these chemicals are awfully, it's ironic. They seem awfully powerful. They're incredibly potent. It's like when you get them on your skin, it almost feels like they're going to burn your skin. They're aggressive, yet they don't have the ability to cut through grease and grime. I don't get it. It's like an oxymoron. But you know, I have some cleaners. There's about 3 or 4 different cleaners that I use. And then again, I'm going to have to get in here and actually agitate and break down some of that grease and grime. But it's absolutely I don't want to use the word, it's easy to do. It still takes some patience, it takes some work, but you can get this stuff off here without spending hours and hours trying to do it if you know the right cleaners. So again, if you happen to live in the Dallas area or just north of Dallas and you're looking to have your tractor clean, you want to dial it in, you want to have it detailed, you want to remove all that debris, grease and grime, you want to make sure the rodents don't start making nests inside your tractor and eating your cables up, you might want to give me a call. I leave a link to my website below this video, and you're welcome to reach out to me. Tell me what type of tractor you have, how big is it, what kind of problems or issues you're having with it, and I can kind of give you some direction or help you understand how I would tackle it and remove all that stuff for you and get it all cleaned up. Now, if you're a professional detailer and watching this video, I want to make this point again. Excuse me, I know it's getting windy. It's probably screwing up the sound here. But if you're a professional detailer and you're looking to expand your business and you have customers or you're in an area where there's some agricultural stuff going on, this might be an area that you want to kind of embark in and walk into, because there's some great potential here to meet a lot of people and be able to, you know, expand and grow your business. So this is why I kind of wanted to make this video. If you're a professional detailer, think outside the box. There's a lot of services that I offer. I don't just clean cars or high-end exotics or daily drivers or do paint correction. I clean tractors. I also do undercarriage cleaning for customers, and I do it mobily. That's a challenge. I have to jack the car up. I get under it. I do thorough cleanings of the undercarriage, a little bit difficult. A little bit of, there's some liability there for your own safety. You got to know how to do it, so I don't recommend it for everybody. But there's all sorts of areas that you want to start looking into if you're a professional detailer to be able to expand your business. And I just think this one is absolutely great, because there's a lot of people out there that have these pieces of equipment. They've spent a lot of money on them, and they understand what it means to maintain them. And if you have the right cleaners, you have the knowledge and the experience to get it done, you'll find that a lot of people will come running to you if you can do it effectively for your customer. I appreciate it, guys. Hopefully that's helped you out a little bit. A little fun video of me foaming up the tractor, but obviously there's a lot more to do. I got to get in there and scrub, use the right cleaners, and completely restore this tractor to some ability or to some extent and make it sweet again. Get rid of all of that grease. Take care, guys. Until next time, be safe.